Hello everybody and welcome on in to episode 111 of the ESO Top 5 Battles. If you have a fight that you want to see in the top 5, you can send that to kristofereso@hotmail.com. Now starting off today, we've got Hoarcrux coming back on the Magicka Dragon Knight. And he's playing a Sea Serpent's Coil build. I've never seen somebody use this item in PvP, but man, it actually looks really good. He trades off hitting himself with that snare if he takes damage while at max health, grabbing a huge amount of damage reduction while at max health, making this build very hard to gank. And then on top of it, it's going to give him Major Berserk and Major Courage. The Major Berserk, fantastic for damage, and we all know what Major Courage is like on a Dragon Knight that gets resource back from his ultimate. And there you see Hoarcrux going with the leap, hitting two players up in the air with it and whipping them both down to finish them off. He bashes the guy off of the res there, and you can see that nasty snare whenever he gets hit by something that when he's at full health. He really has to hug his terrain on a build like this, and I really understand why he's playing this style, especially with Ash Cloud, because he has to hold his ground. But here you see a situation where he finds himself surrounded, and he ended up not taking damage while at full health in that transition there, so he's able to escape, and I'm not sure if the damage shield will negate the snare from his set either, but he is able to very quickly get to these rocks, and then he throws down his Ash Cloud on the ground for healing, and he just starts heavy attacking. He wants to lure these guys into this spot, definitely, because he is going to be slower on this build. And there he connects a nice fossilize on that player, jumping on top of him with the whips, taking a bit of damage from the other players here, and Hoarcrux just doing a great job with his terrain, being very patient. He gets pulled on top though, and he responds with the leap into the whip, bringing that guy down, and then he throws the Ash Cloud down right away, turning on the player that's right behind him, hitting him with a lot of damage, and he goes down as well. And then Hoarcrux just drops off the side, and he's hugging these rocks, using this terrain very close to it because he is so slow, and he has the one player kind of trapped here, hitting him with a lot of dots and trying to bring him down, but the enemy players come over the top. They dump the ultimate on him as well, and Hoarcrux just turns around with a huge lead right into the whip. That guy goes down. A lot of AoE pressure on the other players here. The enemy Templar goes for his ultimate, and he backs up a bit. Hoarcrux switching to the other target, hitting him with a few whips and just putting the damage in. There's the fossilize, the dots coming down, and this Templar here just spamming jabs. It's not going to be enough. A very cool build. If you guys want to see the build video to it, there's a link down below as well. And moving on to the next fight, we have Johan playing a Stamina Warden in a pretty large fight here. A lot of red coming in, and he's with his group of 4. They go for the bomb on the red players. They get a lot of kills, but the counterattack from the red end up quickly killing 2 of the group members, and Johan himself taking a lot of damage. He's right in the middle of that stack, but he manages to throw his heals down and get to cover in time. And they manage to get behind the rocks, get a little bit of terrain to heal up. Johan getting to full health, but his friend is taking a lot of pressure. The red players coming from both sides around the rocks. His friend goes down, and Johan's by himself. What does he do? Drops the Dawnbreaker, goes for the Whirling Blades, and he kills every single red player except one, and he's got another Dawnbreaker ready for him. The Beetles coming in, and the Whirling Blades, oh my god. He kills all of them, and then right away goes to heal his friend. What a team player, doesn't even heal himself first, and then throws his heals down as the last 3 red players come trickling in. And he's got a friendly Nightblade here now as well, and they just put a lot of damage into these guys. They are wondering where the rest of their team went. I mean, so ridiculous. How did he just win that? That's just, I don't know what to say. Moving on to the next clip, we have got ESO Morgan playing a Magicka Dragon Knight, hanging outside this keep here, and he gets jumped by a bunch of red players. It looks like 2 Nightblades and a Warden, and they just start feeding him damage, but Morgan holding strong, using Deep Breath to heal up and constantly pull them out of stealth, and he catches this first Nightblade with his pants down, just spamming that Deep Breath, and the Nightblade didn't back up, so he just got pulled out and killed by it. And then Morgan right away jumping on top of the Warden, gets a fantastic leap, bringing both players down. And then he just waits around a little longer, and of course they're coming back for more. The first player jumps on top of him here, throws down his Beetles and his Dizzy Swing. Morgan taking a ton of damage from the Nightblade out of stealth, but he reacts well with the roll, right away going into the heals and into Mist form just to break that distance, not get caught by those snares. and then he turns around in the doorway after they run through, gets a nice deep breath, and then starts feeding the person that he trapped some whips in the doorway, but it doesn't look like that guy is going to go down quickly, and Morgan, a little bit low on gas here, goes for a mist away, and right as the red jump on top of him, he pops corrosive armor. They're not going to be able to chew through this, especially if he's going for the deep breaths, and he gets so much damage in, and he kills the Warden and one of the Nightblades, the other Nightblade just retreating into stealth. And right away, Morgan goes for pressure on the enemy Dragon Knight, who is a lot bulkier than the rest of the players here. And the Nightblade pops out of stealth to try to hit him with damage. But right away, the deep breath, he gets the explosion. The Nightblade just able to escape. And Morgan turns around, starts putting pressure back into the Dragon Knight. And he's at full health here, so this Nightblade attempting to go for the res. Instead, no, the leap comes down into the whip. Morgan finishes him off. And he sped up the fight a little bit here as he puts the pressure into this very tanky Dragon Knight. But this guy is doing a good job just surviving. Morgan just rotating on him, and the Nightblades end up respawning and coming back. The first one jumps on top of him here. Morgan hits that leap and starts feeding him the whips. The Nightblade dodging. And of course, it was a trap. Another player showing up as well. And he finally goes down to the gank. And for the next fight, we have got Lunatic playing some Magicka Templar, hanging out at this resource, and a bunch of yellows converge. They right away jump on the flag. Looks like Lunatic did manage to flip it, but the guard's going down so quickly to the AoE from these yellow. But Lunatic going into the Sword and Board ultimate, putting the jabs in, and he brings one of the yellow down, getting some pretty good damage into another one there. And he just charges right back out instead of going inside the keep. The yellow actually a little shy to follow him. And Lunatic rotating around. I love he does such a good job in this fight, making sure to keep his bubble up at all times. And this is going to help not only for that healing, but it'll snare the opponents. And Lunatic throws down the AoE on top of the players on the flag. And this guy going for the res, he quickly runs over, hits that bash, and then turns around to switch targets to him. Goes into the Sword and Board ultimate, throws the AoE Caltrop debuff down, and then starts feeding this guy the jabs. He has that weird slide death, but Lunatic does get the kill. And he switches to the other player to put some damage in, noticing this guy trying to go for the res right away, jumping on top of him, and he feeds him the jabs instead of bashing him right away. I know that he did that because he wanted to get the bash in when the player was closer to dead to seal that combo, but he's able to finish it nonetheless. Throws down the Dawnbreaker, a great splash, finishing off the poor Lobby player there, actually hitting this Nightblade quite a bit harder than he hit that Lobby with that Dawnbreaker, and he just keeps the jabs down. The Nightblade can't escape, but more yellow players coming onto the flag to reinforce the location, and well, Lunatic turns around, heads towards the guy that's killing his last NPC that he has here, and the yellow players just kind of bombing him with some damage. Lunatic doing a great job just being conservative with his resource, keeping that bubble up, going for those heavy attacks as well to manage stamina. And Lunatic pops the Sword and Board ultimate. Down go Caltrops. He starts feeding this guy the jabs. He goes down. Fantastic mitigation from block. And Lunatic just standing on the flag, keeping the pressure on these guys. But the yellow players have him kind of surrounded. And the Sork very quickly streaking out of there. But he streaks back in. Lunatic able to connect some jabs on him and keeps the pressure on. Enemy Templar going for the healing ultimate. It's going to be tough for him to seal any kills when that ultimate is up. And he does manage to just kind of wait it out and then keeps pressure on top of this Sork. Sork streaks right through him again. He has his CC immunity now. Dawnbreaker is ready. There's the Donnie connection. He goes down, and Lunatic right away moving on to the enemy Templar to prevent him from getting the res. No, never go for the res like that. Great stuff on the Magplar. And moving on to the final clip today, we've got Asian Mayhem. And he is playing his super deadly gank stamina Nightblade. This thing can do not only single target, but AoE ganks. And there you see, he jumps on the flag, throws down a few cleaves, does manage to get a kill, goes for the Dawnbreaker, and he's so aggressive here. This guy attempting to go for the res. Asian quickly hits that bash and then starts feeding these guys the cleaves. He's doing so much damage with the cleave. The bow ult coming down, and Asian does a great job just dodging out of those attacks, getting into his cloak as well. And instead of trying to rehug cloak once he gets pulled out, he just turns around, feeds him the Dawnbreaker, beautiful cleave cancel through, and he brings a ton of players down on the stack. Absolutely love the aggression, and he takes that risk and manages to win. And he quickly turns right around, jumping on top of these red as they have not healed up yet. He drops the Dawnbreaker after hitting the execute on that other player. Just very fast on this build. He has excellent mobility on it. And Asian just keeping the pressure on top of these guys, connecting the cleave to finish that guy. There's the executes, getting hit by the stun from the guard. But he's going to keep swinging that greatsword, and just 2 red players left. Just an insane damage build and fantastic gameplay. If you guys want to check that build video out as well, I'm going to link it down in the description for you too. And of course, we've got a bonus clip for you guys today, brought to us by Pretend MD, playing some ridiculous Emperor Necromancer. Hope that you guys enjoy. Thank you again to everybody for sending in those clips. We've got links to everybody featured in today's episode down below for you guys too. And of course, if you guys want to send in your own clips for the top 5, or if you have a build that you want to see featured on the channel, you can send that to kristofereso@hotmail.com. If you want to catch my rare live streams, you can always give me a follow on Twitch. Give me a follow on Twitter if you guys want to keep up to date with me. And of course, check out my website if you want to see written guides to my builds and written guides to the featured builds as well. This show is sponsored by What the Fast. They're a VPN for gamers that can give you better ping to your favorite games. Free to try for the first month. There's a link down below for you guys. And last but not least, a massive thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Thank you guys for watching all the top 5s for all this time. I'm excited to keep this series coming for you guys and hopefully work a little bit more on the New World top 5. I'm having a lot of fun doing all of this kind of content. So, yeah, I hope you guys like it because I want to keep doing this kind of stuff. And as always, have a great night, everybody, and I'll see you next time.